I think that's the biggest thing it's taught me, because you never guarantee tomorrow. So I can't just keep looking to that next number. It might not be there. We all hope it is, but you don't know.
Welcome to the Injured Athletes Club podcast, the show that helps athletes cope with sports injuries and bounce back stronger. I'm mental skills coach Carrie Jackson. We're sorry you're here, but we're glad you're with us.
And I'm journalist Cindy Kuzma. This week, our guest is elite bench presser Tony Carlino. But before we get to the interview, we wanted to share a key resource that we have with you.
Yes, in our interview, you're about to hear that our wonderful guest today has an incredible team surrounding him, and that everybody does that is in that particular sport. And so we wanted to highlight our support group, which is our Injured Athletes Club Facebook support group. We very much encourage you to check it out. It's honestly, like we hear again and again, that it is one of the most wonderful places on social media to hang out. And so it's a really incredible group of athletes that are either currently injured or have been there and know and just get it and know what you're going through. And it's really remarkable how everybody shows up for each other and answers questions. People ask for support. They share their wins, and everybody is there to cheer you on and to hold space for you when things are not going as well as you would like for them to go. So it really is worth checking out. So head over to Facebook and check out the Injured Athletes Club.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Carrie. And also a great big thank you to our exclusive sponsor for this season, Lever Movement. They're the creators of the Lever System, a portable lightweight device that attaches to a treadmill to reduce your body weight. You're going to learn more about them later in this episode, but just a little spoiler for right now, you can use the code INJURED20 for 20% off any device. All right, so on to this week's show. As I mentioned, our guest is Tony Carlino, who's a power lifter who specializes in the bench press, as you'll hear him talk about. And you'll also hear him talk about this fact that blew our minds. He recently became just the second person ever to squat 1,000 pounds and bench 1,000 pounds in the same meet, which is mind-blowing. He does this with equipment, which is something that we'll talk a little bit about in the show. He's graciously explained it to us endurance athletes, but nonetheless, that is an incredible accomplishment. He is a 5-time all-time world record holder, as well as the owner of Everstrong, a company that sells equipment, apparel, and other tools to help athletes overcome obstacles and succeed. And Tony has a pretty amazing story to share about something that he went through back in 2019. But Carrie, what really struck me about talking with Tony is that idea of support. You know, you mentioned that he had a great support system around him. And when we asked him, was it ever hard to ask for support? And it was almost like he didn't understand the question. It just came really naturally to him to really have a team of people there around him. And I think part of that is just, it seems like his nature is to be supportive of others and to accept that support. But also I wonder if there's something about the fact that it's a sport that demands that you have people surrounding you to keep you safe. And we talk about that too. So anyway, I really appreciate, and when I say he didn't understand the question, it wasn't because he wasn't like thinking, right? It was just, we so often have stubborn individualistic tendencies as athletes. Yes. I'm putting myself firmly in this category. So I appreciated that perspective from him a lot.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And I do feel like almost like, I wonder if there is something inherent in the sport where you absolutely have to have a team in order to do what you're trying to accomplish, and you need assistance, that it's very normal to ask for help and normalized to sort of need the support. So I thought that was very, very interesting. I don't know what it was about this conversation. I mean, oh my gosh, you guys, as soon as you start hearing the story, it's just going to blow your mind. It's really going to blow your mind, both him and his partner and what they've been through and their ability to still kind of maintain optimism and take it one day at a time, which you'll hear Tony talk about. It was really, really cool. But I don't know what it was about our conversation where I was really struck with this thought of like, just the reality that when you're an athlete and you choose to step up to the plate, so to speak, in your sport, that you really are taking on the fact that there is an inherent risk in pushing our bodies, and that we still choose to do it, right? That it is still meaningful, and getting injured doesn't negate. It doesn't negate the meaningfulness of the fact that you stepped up to the plate. And so I thought was really, for some reason in this conversation, struck me very deeply and just recognizing like, yes, that like it is a risk and we still do it. And we do it because, everybody has their own sort of meaning behind why they choose to do it. But that it's, that really stood out to me.
I think part of it is just that, like, when you're power lifting 1,000 pounds, you expect certain kinds of injuries, but the story, like the most compelling story he has to tell, like the really life-threatening thing that happened to him was that he got swine flu, which is like
swine flu,
so, I mean, which I don't mean to diminish the seriousness of the situation at all, but it just, as he kind of explains, it's not always what you expect. And, it's all about kind of living the moment that you're in, no matter what comes. So, really appreciated Tony coming on to talk about this. And, we are excited to share it with you. So here is our interview with Tony. Tony, welcome. And thank you so much for joining us on the Injured Athletes Club.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So we have a little saying around here, which is that we're sorry you're here, but we're glad you're with us. And we know things like injury and illness in an athlete's life can be a roller coaster with a lot of ups and downs, but we know we're catching you not long after a huge achievement, which we're going to talk to you about, but we also know that you've faced your fair share of adversity too. So I say all that so that, when we ask this question, we really want to know the answer. Tony, how are you doing today?
Well, today I'm doing great. I'm doing better than ever. So, I can't ask for too much more. I'm doing really good right now.
Awesome.
Yes.
That is a fantastic answer. We love to hear it. So yes, we mentioned this high note. We know you had a pretty epic day at your recent meet, Holy Wars 3. You became only the second person to ever squat 1,000 pounds and bench 1,000 pounds in the same equipped meet. I mean, holy moly, what does it feel like to lift that much weight? How did it feel to accomplish something like that?
It was pretty awesome. Usually I am and so in powerlifting it's the sport of squat, bench, and deadlift, all three lifts, but you can specialize in just bench or just deadlift if you choose not to want to do the other two. And I usually just specialize in bench. This one I did decide to do all three. It's been 4 years since I've done what they call a full power meet, all three lifts. So when I decided to do it, I was like, it would be really cool. There's only one other person ever to do it in the same meet. I know I'm capable of it. So let's go give it a shot. And so, it wasn't, oddly enough, it wasn't too bad. It didn't feel too bad. I've handled or lifted that weight enough times in the gym before where I was confident. I don't squat a ton very often in training, but I do bench a lot. So I knew the bench was going to be there. I felt very comfortable. The squat was kind of iffy. My knees have been giving me issues over the past few years. Just some type of shakiness. I don't know what it is. I got to fix it. There's nothing really too wrong. Like nothing hurts or anything. I just shake like halfway down in my squat. So that was my only iffy point. If I could get past that, I think I was pretty confident I could get the squat. And so I got the squat, thankfully, my first 1,000-pound squat in the meet. And then it was on to bench. You bench second. And that's my specialty. And I ended up missing my two. You get 3 attempts in each lift. I missed my first 2 attempts. And so if you miss all 3, you bomb out, what they call bomb out, and you're just out of the meet. You're disqualified. So in the one lift I specialize in, I was about to bomb out. Third attempt. But I knew what I did wrong. So I just fixed it all on the third attempt, and it went real smooth. And thankfully was able to hit that lift and become the second person, like you said, to do 1,000 squat and bench in the same meet. And it's still kind of surreal when you say it, when I hear it. I even get kind of excited. I'm like, dude, that's so cool. It's a really cool, neat accomplishment.
It's incredible. Like every time I read it, I lose my mind. I think it's amazing. So had you been training to do the 1,000-pound squat, or was it something once you were there, you were like, you know what? I think I'm ready. I'm going to go for it.
The second part. So when usually we will do like a 10 to 12 week, what we call a training cycle, where you kind of build up in weight and build up to heavier weights. And I was already going to go to the meet. It was in Massachusetts. I live in Florida. So I was already going to fly up there to help some teammates out who were doing the meet. But 2 of them dropped out. And so I was like, well, I'm already going. 2 people dropped out and they're going to help the other people. So we already had enough helpers. So I was like,
Okay.
what if I just jumped in the meet and see what I could do? So 3 weeks out, I was like, well, I'll do the meet. So I had one squat session and one deadlift session to just kind of figure out what my like first attempts would be. We call them openers, where opening attempts would be. And so I didn't train for the squat or deadlift at all because I don't really do that in training. And so I have done it in the past. I randomly squat throughout the year, just kind of whenever I feel like it. So, but I didn't train for it this meet. I always bench though. So I bench heavy pretty much year round. So that one was kind of locked in. I knew what I was going to do there. But yeah, I didn't really train the squat at all or deadlift. I just got a little lucky, I guess, and was able to pull it out.
Well, I mean, lucky, I also does seem like you maintain that level of training all the way around to be able to
come to the table with some,
exactly.
Yeah, but that's incredible because the people I've worked with some Olympic weightlifters, so I kind of want the audience to recognize what a big deal this is, and especially knowing now that that wasn't really my plan. I wasn't really training for that necessarily, but was like, you know what, I think I could do this. Like that's incredible.
Yeah, well, thank you. And this too is like Olympic weightlifting. In powerlifting, it's called equipped or geared powerlifting. We use these special squat suits and bench shirts. They help protect you so you don't get injured as easily. But it also obviously helps you lift more weights. So it's not like what they call raw or, it's with these special suits on. But I like to do, I kind of compare it to like stock car racing or like drag racing. It's still racing. You're just putting a bigger engine in it and going faster. So that's kind of how I like to explain, just for listeners that might not be familiar with that.
Yeah, we really appreciate that because that was a question I had for you and wanted you to explain a little bit because it does influence kind of both how you think about the performance and how you think about injury too, right? Like, it protects you a little bit, but like you said, enables you to do more. Well, with that, like, how would you kind of say that injuries are viewed in powerlifting and equipped lifting? I mean, you obviously have the risk of like severe acute injuries in addition to the risk of something like, like you're saying, something's going on with your knees or just, something that's more like an overuse injury. I mean, is there kind of an acceptance that you're taking a risk when you're hoisting these extremely heavy weights, or like, how do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a chance of injury, no matter how much of the equipment you wear, or how tight you wear it, or anything like that. And it's just something, going in that there's always a possibility. Luckily, most everyone that trains in equipment or without, but especially with equipment, trains with a team, 5, 6, however many people, and they help spot and everything and make sure you don't get hurt. Injuries are going to happen at some point. Hopefully they're not major, but you kind of accept it, especially like you said with these weights. But it's something we're willing to risk to go after these numbers. So it's as long as you don't do anything too crazy, you're usually good. Like I didn't not squat and then go try and squat and then 1,300 pounds. You know what I mean? Like it would be insane. Then obviously you're going to get hurt. You've got to be within reason. And everyone does that, freak injuries happen, but we all know it's part of the game, and we just try to stay as protected as we can and safe.
Yeah. And of course, freak injuries can happen when you're not lifting too. So it's,
right. Or like you could, I've had elite athletes, they stepped off a curb wrong and you get injured doing anything. And so what's interesting to me about your sport, Tony, is that like, what it reminds me of is I think sometimes people have a perception that there's a really high risk when it's more of like a calculated risk, right? There's so many things that you're doing to make sure that you're prepared and protecting. It reminds me of, I used to be a rock climber and people sort of have an assumption sometimes that like, oh my God, that's got to be the most dangerous sport. Not if you're doing it right? And you know what you're doing, it's the safest thing in the world.
100%. Yeah. With the gear and the equipment we use, you have to be so technically sound. There's certain technique and form you have to use to get this equipment to work right. If you use it wrong, it's not going to work well, and you're really not going to work at all. And that could lead to injuries.
Oh, interesting.
So knowing how to work it and use this equipment correctly is a huge part. And so taking time to learn it, it's a process. I've been doing this since the beginning of 2013, so 13 years now. So yes, that's a big part of it too. You don't just go rock climbing the biggest mountain or whatever without
That's right.
ever doing it. So
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah, it's like you said, calculated risk. You got to be smart about it too.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, so we know one of the biggest challenges you faced in your lifting career and probably in your life too, although you can tell that if that isn't the case, but this wasn't an injury at all. It was an illness, a case of swine flu that you contracted around the Arnold Sports Festival in 2019. So we'd love to talk about that if you're open to it. Kind of take us a little bit back to where you were in your sport and your life at the time and what happened when you got sick.
Yeah, so the Arnold is a big expo event. It's like a 3-day thing. Actually, this year, it just happened this past weekend.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's a bunch of competitions and stuff there. So I got invited to a bench competition out there. And 2 weeks before it, I just had the regular flu. I just got sick with the flu. So, and I was getting over it. But the week of leading up to the meet, I still was feeling a little sick, but getting better. And I was contemplating, should I do it? Should I not? I really wanted to, but I still didn't feel great. And I was like, the worst thing that can happen if I go is I just lose and that's it, But the best thing if I go and if I don't even try, it's what could have happened. But if I go and I try and I lose, well, that's not good, but whatever. But I could go and win dealing with all this. That's even better story. So I go up there, I do the meet. I do end up winning it, thankfully. But then the worst thing wasn't losing. The worst thing was I did contract. I guess the flu got worse, or however it I either caught the swine flu or transformed into the swine flu while I was there. Yeah, and so maybe a couple days after, I don't remember, it's called a little fuzzy exactly. A couple days after, well, we drove up there, and on the way back, I was like, oh, I'm getting sick again. I knew it was kind of going to happen. There's thousands of people there. But then, how when you get sick, you get the flu, you get the chills, but you're not necessarily cold. You just get the chill. You just need to lay under the covers. Well, I caught those like the worst I've ever had in my life, and I couldn't stop shaking. And I was like, what is happening? I'm like, this is a bad flu, and so I had that, and then I couldn't sleep laying down after like one night. I had to sit up. And I was just drinking a lot of Gatorade. I was drinking a lot of red Gatorade to keep hydrated.
Yeah.
And I was coughing up the fluid and stuff, and I was coughing up what I thought was red Gatorade. How it turns your stuff red, but I was coughing up blood. And not knowing at the time. Yeah.
It was masking it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, so then the one time, I remember I got up, I was downstairs at the house I was at the time. And it felt like I've never had this feeling before, and I don't want to be too graphic, but I felt like I had to go to the bathroom and throw up at the same time, uncontrollable. I had to go, and so I'm sprinting to the bathroom. As soon as I turn the corner to get in the bathroom, the last thing I remember is just it going black, and then like I don't know how long later, but I ended up waking up on the bathroom floor. So I fainted. I hit my head on the toilet seat, and then I woke up on the floor, and nobody was home. I was living with a roommate at the time, so I don't know why. I just woke up and called my training partner at the time. It's like instead of like my parents or something, I was like, "What do I do?" He's like, "Go to the hospital, call your parents." I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea." When I should call anybody but me. So that's what I did.
Could be forgiven for not thinking totally clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so I did that. And my parents came and picked me up, and we were going to go to just like the walk-in 24-hour clinic thing, like at Walgreens or whatever. But they were all closed. And so we're like, fine, we'll go to the ER and we'll sit there and get checked out. Luckily, we did, because you go back or you go get checked out, they bring you up, and they did my the blood oxygen level, and it was way down. And I started coughing up again and coughing. And as soon as they checked that and I started coughing, they immediately brought out like this wheelchair and wheeled me to the back. Like it was like, it seemed like everything was fine, to almost like pure panic. They were trying to hide it, but I could tell something was wrong. Anyway, get wheeled to the back.
Scary.
And then they couldn't get my blood oxygen levels up. They tried all these different breathing masks and tubes and stuff. Couldn't get it. And then they told me they had to put me under to be able to fix me. And in my head, I was like, well, great. I don't have to sit here and feel sick. You can put me under and I'll feel all better when I wake up. And so they did that. And then I wake up and I'm like, okay, great. I wake up and it's all fuzzy. My parents are on my left and right. I look over and my dad is on my right, but I didn't recognize him. I look over to my left. I was like, oh, okay, that's my mom. I look back to my right. Okay, that's my dad. And then I was like, can we go now? Am I better? And they're like, no, we can't. We can't go. You've been in a coma for 16 days. So they put me in a medically induced coma. Yeah, I thought it was the next day. I had no idea.
Oh
I got life flighted from the hospital we were at to Atlanta's main hospital. I can't remember the name. But the main hospital in Atlanta, because they have what they call an ECMO machine. It's like evidently the highest form of life support. When I got there, they immediately put me on that, and it recirculates, from my understanding, and oxygenates and cleans your blood, like all the blood in your body, like every minute or something. And that wasn't working. And they can only keep you on that for so long, evidently. So when that wasn't working, they usually put you on first a rotoprone bed, which is like a bed with a lid over it, I guess, and it kind of rotates.
Okay.
So my lungs were all filled with fluids, like all filled. They showed me the X-ray. There wasn't 1 ounce of that wasn't filled. Whoa. So when they put me on that, they started draining. Once they got me to a certain spot, my lungs started kind of finally draining out. Okay. So that was that, and I had to get a tracheotomy when they put me under, so they just shut down everything so that my body could just try and heal. And then they had to temporarily paralyze me. And so, sorry, I'm kind of bouncing all around, but
that's okay.
Yeah, so when I wake up, I think it's the next day. It's been 16 days in medically induced coma. They life flighted me. And I was evidently kind of fighting them. I didn't want to get in the helicopter. I don't remember because they have to, I guess, take you out a little bit to be able to move you. I don't. Yeah. This is just what I'm being told. And so I'm fighting these people and then not literally fighting, but kind of wrestling them around. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Where are you taking me? Yeah.
Exactly.
What is happening?
Yeah. And so when they first tried to wake me up when I was in the hospital, they tried to take me out the first time. Evidently, I wasn't having that either. I tried to pull all the IVs and stuff out of me, and they had to take so many doctors to hold me down to put me back under. Then I guess the second time they tried to wake me up, I was nice and calm. And
interesting.
So I had to relearn how to walk, relearn motor functions and all that. So evidently it was like a 30. My dad looked it up online. There's a 30% chance to live if people get put on ECMO or something like that. So,
Wow, that's so terrifying. And I'm so sorry you went through all that. And obviously we know you're okay today, but I can't even imagine what that felt like, especially when you kind of went to sleep thinking, okay, things are probably just going to be fine. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, wait, this is a whole different situation than I was prepared for.
Yes.
What were kind of the most challenging parts of that physically and mentally when you first when it sunk in, this was actually a really big deal?
Yeah. So one of the biggest challenges was they couldn't put a feeding tube in me during all of it. There's just too much mass around everything. They couldn't put it through. And so I was luckily I had enough mass where I guess I didn't starve or whatnot. So eventually over time, I weighed about 265 going in. When I came out of the hospital, I was 205. So I lost 60 pounds.
Wow.
Basically I lost all my muscle because I wasn't any more ripped. I could have lost some body fat. They could have taken some of that, but that didn't happen. I was like, you didn't get me any leaner. I just took all my muscle. You know how long this took? But so that was difficult. I remember they had to roll up my sleeve to take my blood pressure. And I looked over, I was like, oh my gosh, what? I was not happy. I wasn't mad at the time. I was pretty upset though. I was like, no, there's no way. And then the bed can weigh you at the time. And that was 220 when that happened. And then when I got out, I was 205. That was difficult just because of how long, working out is just a huge part of my life and stuff. So it's it took so long to build this and now it's all gone like that.
Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah.
Obviously could be worse, but that was still not fun. And then, like I said, that had temporarily paralyzed me, so I had to relearn how to walk. I gave myself 5 days to relearn how to walk. They said it was going to take long. I was like, I'll give myself 5 days. I bet I can do it. It took me 6. But because they come down
like
and
a
walk
true
you.
athlete.
Yeah, right. So it took me 6. Then I had to relearn like motor skills before I could walk. I had to relearn like just how to feed myself and brush my teeth because I was being paralyzed and not moving for so long. Like your body's just everything's basically turned off and just trying to survive. Like I'm like, no, I can eat. And then I tried to like bring the fork up to my mouth. I'm like, what? I can't. What? It was such a weird feeling not to be able to do something you just do every day and without thinking about it. So yeah, those were the initial hardest things to kind of deal with.
And at that point, were you even like, was there part of, right, the athlete part of you? Was there part of you that was like, okay, when am I going to get back to my sport? Or at that point, when you realized sort of the severity of your recovery, was that even part of what was in your mind at that point?
Right. So that's a huge thing that a lot of people ask me. And it's kind of surprising. Like, I didn't care. Like they told me I'd never be able to power lift again or lift as heavy like I was. And I was totally fine with that. Surprising to myself, I was like, I don't care. That's fine. Like I had already accomplished a few things in the sport. I didn't hit any goals at the time that I really wanted, but the ones I did hit, I was like, I'd be fine if I can't do this again. I have to be, but I'll be happy with it. I'm alive. I'll just do whatever I can do now. And then, that was a little surprising though. Like even when I was saying it and thinking about it when I was in the hospital, I was like, I'm surprised I'm not like itching to go back after it. But you go through so much and I'm like, it's not really that important in the grand scheme of things. But when I got out of the hospital and got back home after about a week, I went back to my gym just to say hey to everyone and see everyone because they all came and saw me in the hospital. And so I just went and said hey. And then I was like, well, like it was like a bug. I was like, well, I'm going to try and come back. I can't not try, like if I try and my body just can't do it, then that's fine, but I got to give it a shot. And so luckily that has worked out, but I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought I was like, I'll be fine. And then right when I stepped back in, I was like, I got to try and come back. I love this too much.
Oh, that's amazing. Right. And that's kind of like your approach to that competition where it's like, you got to risk failure in order to risk success.
Right.
And it sounds like it was worth it to you to be like, well, I'm definitely not going to make it happen if I don't try. So why not try?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm curious too. I know you didn't know Shelly yet, and we're going to talk about her later. But I'm curious about the kind you mentioned your buddies coming to the hospital and your parents were there and all that. I'm wondering about the support that you got. And then I also feel like, I wonder if because you are, you mentioned that for powerlifting, like you need a team to support you all the time, even in training. Does that, sometimes athletes struggle to ask for help. Did it make it a little bit easier to accept support and feel grateful for that in the moment? Or is it just like, I don't know. I'm just curious, like what you think about all that.
In the moment of like when I was in the hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I was grateful for everything. Everyone that came and saw me, I wasn't embarrassed or like afraid to ask for anything. I was like, hey, all is welcome. Well, we all see each other like in our most vulnerable kind of states in the lifting world. This was kind of nothing. They didn't look at me any different or, it's all the same kind of support. You know what I mean? Like I felt no different. It was great to have that support and then definitely did help me get back to it, seeing all those guys there and be able to make progress as well as I did. They definitely played a big role in that.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So how did it go once you got that spark again and you were like, all right, I think if I'm not mistaken, you tried just lifting the bar first, right? But what was it like to kind of start from that new starting point where you hadn't been for probably quite a few years?
Yeah. I don't think like you said, I lifted the bar for the first time. And when I did it, it felt like the heaviest thing ever. Like it was 45-pound bar, nothing on it. It felt so heavy. I was like, this is insane. Like it's crazy. Like it kind of gives you a new perspective of when very young or maybe elderly people want to start working out for the first time, and you don't think they can lift anything crazy, but when they're barely lifting something, you're just like, well, maybe you could do more. No, that stuff's heavy. Like for somebody who's never touched it and it's brand new like that. So it kind of gave me a new perspective on that. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah, benching the bar was so heavy. It was great, but it was so heavy. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a long way to go. But it felt amazing just to be able to get back under it like I did. To be able to get the chance to, So, and then after I started back, 5 months later is when I hopped back into another meet just to prove that I could do it to myself. So, and then that kind of started my journey back. I haven't stopped since.
Can you run more mileage without getting hurt? Return to running sooner after an injury.
Keep your fitness even when you're facing a setback? Or get to the start line healthy and faster? If you ask our friends at Lever Movement, you just might find the answer to all of these questions is a resounding yes. We are thrilled to welcome Lever Movement back as our sponsor for season 9 of the Injured Athletes Club podcast. And if all that sounds good, they have an offer that makes it easier than ever for you to try the Lever system for yourself. In case you haven't heard about it yet, the Lever system is a portable, lightweight device that attaches to a treadmill to reduce your body weight. This is very good news for all of us athletes because it means less impact on the joints, so we can come back from injury safely or even prevent getting hurt in the first place. And the best part is that it's portable. That means you can use it at home or even take it to the gym and set it up in less than 2 minutes.
Elite athletes like marathoner Sarah Hall and Jess Lehrmanth, an Olympic gold medalist in triathlon, have used Lever in their training and rehab routines. And we know, so have many of you in the Injured Athletes Club. If you'd like to check out the Lever system for yourself, use the discount code INJURED20 to get 20% off any device. And stay tuned here on the podcast and in the Facebook group for the Injured Athletes Club this season. We'll have more exciting updates from our partnership. We have some fun plans in the works with Lever we know you're going to want to check out.
Oh, that's amazing. So when you were in the middle of that process, like one of the things that we talk about with injured athletes, or one of the things that we see them go through, is that sometimes they are gauging their feelings of success based on what they were able to do before they were injured or before they got sick versus what am I able to do now that's different than what I was able to do yesterday or last week. Like when you were at that place of I can lift the bar and oh my gosh, this is crazy that it feels so heavy when I know what I was capable of before. Did you find yourself were you struggling at all with how you were gauging your feelings of success or your confidence at that point? Or was it more like, it's a bummer, but I know I can get the fitness back if I keep on the path?
Yeah, more of the second part. I never felt down, or I never felt like, oh man, I used to be able to do this, just because of why I was there. I was there because I got sick and because I was in the hospital, not because I chose to take time off or something like that and then was trying to get back into it. So I think I never had any down mentally, any down or negative thoughts about it or anything like that. And it's the whole muscle memory thing too. So once I started really getting back into it and my body started adapting after probably the first month, it kind of came back quick. Not everything, not full strength, but a good chunk of it came back pretty quick, just because it's like, it like woke my body up. It took a little bit, but it woke up and it was ready to get back to where it was. Yeah, no negative thoughts, only positive, and having the teammates around, it really helps. No matter what you're doing. Like when I lifted the bar, they were all way excited. You know what I mean? It's little stuff like that. So it's like,
that's awesome.
You got to keep going after that.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you personally, and then also your whole team, like everyone was really channeling that gratitude for you making it through what you did. And then it almost felt like the rest of it was kind of a bonus, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then I think if my research is correct, it was like about 2 years later that you officially benched 1,000 pounds, something like that, around that amount of time.
So I got sick 2019. Yeah, January 2021. like, I think it was 10 days after my birthday, I officially benched 1,000 pounds. And that was also my first world record I got.
Amazing.
So, and then talk about injuries. So that was 1,080, and it was a world record. And then for my weight class. And so the world record for all weight classes was 1,110 pounds. So I wasn't far away. So my third attempt, I went 11:15, and I got it about 5-6 inches away, and it drops on me.
Oh,
If you go on my social medias, it's on there. You can see it. It looks like it cuts me in half.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it happened so fast. I couldn't, usually when I drop, like, I've had weights kind of roll out of my hands and they catch it. This one just went so fast, and I had no indication it was going to happen.
So you didn't see, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but luckily, there was like, some nurses, there that were competing. They just happened to compete, and they were like, "Do you feel this? Do you feel that?" And I was like, "No." If they're like, "If you feel X, Y, and Z, let us know. It might be like internal bleeding. We got to get you to the hospital." So they let the adrenaline kind of wear down and stuff, and then but I didn't feel any of that. I maybe cracked or broke a rib or two, but you can't really do anything about that besides just rest. So it took me about a month. I couldn't lay down on the bench for about a month. Laying down in bed kind of hurt, but other than that, luckily, it wasn't anything too serious. So, yeah.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. And I mean, it goes to show you too, that like so much of an athlete's life, like we talk about these ups and downs, right? They can happen in such close proximity to each other.
Yeah. I just hit my first 1,000-pound bench in a world record. And then the next attempt, I'm almost dead again. Like cutting myself in half. Yeah. It happened so fast.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you recovered from that. And then, it sounds like by that point, a couple of years after your illness, that injury aside, you were really feeling like yourself again. I mean, did you have any other like lingering symptoms or issues that lasted much beyond the time you were back in the gym?
No, I don't think so. A little bit like nerve ending things, like some part of my leg kind of feels a little bit numb to the touch. That's just from, I think from, I may have fell or something when I was like, when they were trying to take me on the helicopter to life flight me. I don't know. I heard I like fell on the concrete or something. I don't know if that was it, but something on my nerve endings in my knee and my leg is kind of a little bit numb. And then I feel like I have no evidence of this, but like when the tracheotomy part, it feels like my throat is like, or something around there maybe is, like there's some scar tissue or something inside. Maybe it like feels like my throat's a little smaller than it was. Sometimes it's harder to swallow certain things. I have no evidence besides a feeling. We've done x-rays and stuff and they don't see anything, but that's the only thing. Everything else is normal though.
That's amazing. And it is interesting, right, that when you are in that situation, you don't actually have memories of a lot of it. You really do have to kind of rely on what you heard and kind of put the pieces of it together in your brain. But yeah, just really glad that you made it through and that you're doing well now.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know sometime in there after all that, you met Shelly, and we know she has faced some obstacles herself too. But just tell us a little bit about her and like what her support has added to your life and your sport too.
Yeah, so it was after. Okay, so I did that meet in January, and then I had another big meet in March, and then so I did that meet on Saturday, and then that Tuesday I moved down to Florida to be with her and live with her. So there's a lot right there. Yeah, we met. I drove down here in Florida. I lived in Georgia. I drove down to Florida because we were trying to figure out how to meet in the middle for like a date or something, and we couldn't. I was like, fine, I'll just come down. And, you live in Florida. It can't be that bad. Like anything, it's a couple days vacation if you don't like it. So anyways, come down here. Drove down, flew down the next weekend, and then eventually I was like, you know what, we both don't do long distance. I was like, it's a 7-8 hour drive. If it doesn't work out, I can just drive back up. And that was 2021, and I'm still here. So 5 years later, obviously it's worked out. But she's been great. She's nothing but supportive in my lifting and stuff. She maybe thinks I can make smarter attempts on some of my lifts, but yeah, nothing but supportive. It's been great. She's nothing but positive vibes. All of her friends come to her for advice and stuff. She's always the one giving advice and trying to help people out. So, yeah, nothing but great impact on me and everything. And, she, the stuff that's happened with her, I'm sure we can get into that. She's been nothing but positive about all that too. So it's kind of makes you, kind of rethink the little things you might get mad at or whatnot in life. You're like, well, if you can stay positive through what you're going through, maybe I should take a step back and kind of reassess the little thing, just like maybe a little annoyance at work or something, just for an example. You're like, it's not really that big of a deal. There's bigger things in life going on that, so anyways, it's one thing is just not let some things that might maybe bug you, just like brush them off. They're too small. I don't know where I'm trying to go with this, but
yeah, well, no, I know exactly
thing.
What you're saying. Yeah, it's like it shifts your perspective, right? Where it's
exactly.
It like shifts your scale almost of how you assess what a problem is now. Once you go through something that's bigger, where you're like, I think it shifts the scale where you're like, oh, I used to think that was a problem, but now I realize maybe that wasn't really a problem.
Yes, you said it much better than I did. Yeah.
No, you led me there. So
it's good teamwork there. Good teamwork there. Well, yeah, tell us a little bit about some of what Shelly's been through. I know most recently it was stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, right? How is she doing now?
Yeah, so I don't remember the exact year, how long it's been when she first got diagnosed with breast cancer. Slipping my mind right now, but she beat it. And then it came back metastatic in her bones and a spot in maybe a liver, a pleura, a few other spots. And then the original oncologist we went to gave her I think it was 2 years maximum to live. And this was I think at the end of 2021. So right when we got together, or maybe it's 2022. Nope, 2021. I'm sorry. And then, and she wasn't accepting that. She wasn't, taking that for an answer. So we went to another one. Another oncologist, along with a few other holistic type of doctors that she goes to, or got second opinion, third opinions with, and through all that, she's now no evidence of disease. So this is technically uncurable, but the markers and all the tracers are under normal. So it's at bay, and she's keeping it at bay. So she's now beat it twice. It kind of popped back up recently, and it's now back down. So, yeah.
Well, I know that is really difficult to go through, but that is wonderful to hear. And yeah, it's my understanding for sure that no evidence of disease is where you want to be when that's what you're dealing with. You talked a little bit about this with the shift in perspective, but is there anything else that Shelly has taught you about strength or resilience as you have gone through all this and gone through all this together?
She teaches me stuff every day. I don't know if I can pinpoint just one little thing, just how she handles life and stresses, her way. And she rarely ever gets mad, and she's very forgiving. And I'm I'm not a mad person either, but I think I get more annoyed and mad at things than she does. And it's always a nice to see her perspective on things. I'm like, what? Like I said before, I'm like, this doesn't matter, the little thing of whatever. So it's being around that all day, every day. It's just contagious. It's just like her smile is contagious. It brightens up the room. It's her attitude too towards everything. It's just, you can't help but be positive when she's around, so that's a huge thing that's kind of helped me just be more also present in just everyday life. She's always sunsets. It's just, she'll stop and just take a sunset in and just stare at it and stare off. And it's just little things like that. I'm like, I don't know if it's just me, a guy thing. I don't know. Or, I'm like, it's a sunset. It's great. Cool. But now, no, now I love the same exact thing, going to the beach and just looking at the waves. There's something about this certain type of waves on the water down here too, that I just love to just sit and look at. And I don't think I would appreciate it or look at it like that if I didn't have her perspective of like how she loves the sunsets. And I'm like, you know what? I need to stop. Life is so go, go, go all the time for everyone. It's like, I need to stop and just take this in and appreciate it for what it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, tell us a little bit too about Everstrong. I know it's a company that you and Shelley have together, right? And it's part of the goal with that company is to support other athletes who are overcoming obstacles too. So tell us just more about how you got it started and what it means to you to have that outlet as well.
Yeah, we got it started from both of our stories coming together. She didn't, the breast cancer, didn't know if she'd make it. My stuff didn't know if we'd make it. So it gave us, a second chance on life. And that's basically why we got together too. We're like, life's too short. Let's give this a shot. Let's give it a go. And so we kind of, with our lifting, and she's done bodybuilding, fitness, bikini competitions, bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman. She's done it all. And so we're both in that world. We're like, and we always we've both been sponsored by other companies and stuff. We're like, why don't we try and create our own and kind of get our own little thing going for people. It's not obviously just for people who have been through something, but to especially encourage people who have been through something. We do clothing supplements just for people to try and be their strongest, be their best selves. And we also try to have, give the message to help people use strength to help others. Whatever individual case that may be. I know we have I have a powerlifting friend who's overcame addiction and now opened up a nonprofit gym to help people that who may have gone through that. And he used the gym to overcome that and stuff. So like something like that, it's all walks of life. You never know different kind of stories, but that's the kind of thing that we love to go after. We love to highlight. We're trying to highlight people like that on our Facebook or our Instagram pages. And because people aren't always going to just talk about themselves like that. So we're trying to make a spotlight for people who have done great things and have overcome obstacles. And then we also want to eventually get into like volunteering projects and stuff. And we sponsor some powerlifting meets as best we can right now. Very small company. We're trying to get up and going. But hopefully once we can get some greater revenue and we can do a lot bigger things and everything, and not just powerlifting or the lifting world, just in all aspects of life, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. And, we talk to a lot of athletes who have been through injuries and illness and other obstacles. And it's always so powerful when people do take that experience and use it to help others. So I love that you're doing that for yourself through the company, but that you're also taking that opportunity to highlight other people who are doing that in various ways too. It's really meaningful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Tony, with all you've been through, the swine flu, the broken ribs, the dealing with Shelley's cancer, which I know is not a small thing, are there ways in which these experiences have changed you think, as an athlete and a person?
I don't know if it's, possibly. I don't know. So kind of in the powerlifting, my lifting world, it's kind of like I want to go for that next number. Okay, This is cool, but what's next? This is cool, but what's next? It's kind of made me take a step back, kind of like what I was talking about with Shelley, and just enjoying the moment and being present. Like when I did that first 1,000-pound bench and I hit a world record, I was like, I got up and I didn't celebrate. I didn't do anything crazy. I was just like, all right, what's next? I want the next thing. Instead, my buddies were going crazy and cheering, and I was just like, okay, let's go. We gotta get back there and work. Like, so when I do something and I hit a goal or whatnot, I make sure I try to live in that moment because it goes so quick. You can't, you know what I mean? So it goes way too fast. So I just try to be present more often than that and just in life in general. But I think that's the biggest thing it's taught me, because you never guarantee tomorrow. So I can't just keep looking to that next number. It might not be there. You know what I mean? Hopefully
That's right.
we all hope
Yeah.
it is, but you don't
Yeah.
know. So next cool lift or just anything, I get more excited when like Shelly hits a big lift or something, but like, I just want to be in the
Um,
moment. It's taught me to be in the moment more and appreciate those moments, because they come and go so quick.
I love that. One of the analogies I use with my athletes a lot is like, as an athlete, you're very driven and goal oriented, and we're very used to setting the bar high. And then once you get to that bar, immediately setting the bar higher, like, okay, what's next, right? That feeling of what's next, and forget sometimes to put the bar, like, instead of setting the bar higher, you got to set the bar down and like absorb that moment, right? Watch the sunset, like hit the pause button, and then you can set the bar high again, or like you can go after it. But just being able to integrate those moments is so important. And in our sort of greater driven culture, both our greater culture as well as the athlete culture, it's just like, it's exciting to like, what's next. And we forget that you can have both. And so I'm curious, like, after your experience and watching, Shelly go through her experience and your mission with everything that you guys have gone through and what you're trying to do now, thinking about the people that are listening to the podcast and thinking about the athletes out there that maybe just got injured and don't know, like, am I going to get back to my sport? Will I be the same athlete that I was before? Do you have any advice for someone out there that's in that place right now, that might be questioning that and wondering, am I going to get through this?
Yeah, I think one thing that helped me, and I don't know if I really thought about doing this, I think I just did it when I was in the hospital, was just taking it a day at a time. Taking the day for what it is, not trying to look too far ahead. Obviously, you want to hit that goal of getting better, but take the day for what it is and what you can do that day. Like, I wanted to walk in 5 days. I did it in 6. I wasn't like, okay, let's go tomorrow. I was like, okay, today was great. I made it down the hall further than I did yesterday. You know what I mean? So taking it a day at a time, not trying to get too in your head about this isn't happening quick enough, because it's happening quicker than you think. I think that's the biggest thing I noticed, that I know I did, and I don't think I really thought about doing it. I just happened to do it. It's just being in that, taking it a day at a time, just taking whatever that day gives you and trying to make the best of it and building on that, because that one day turns into 2, turns into a week, turns into a month, and then before you know it, you're like, oh, I'm already better, or I'm 90%. And
Yeah,
it went
yeah,
back when you were, kind of down and maybe doubting yourself or maybe not so positive, is so long ago now,
yeah, yeah.
because you're trying to look too far forward, or like you said, maybe you're not where you thought you'd be at the time. But,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you might have a couple of days that just you hit a rut, but then you might have that day where you go up tenfold, like maybe you go up 2 steps instead of just a step up. You know what I'm trying to
I love
say?
that.
So like,
Yeah,
you never
yeah.
know. You never know what's going to happen the next day. So don't try to get too down
Mm.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your story is such a testament to that too, right? Like it took 5 days, like each day at a time, right? Like you taught yourself how to walk again. And then you were lifting a 45-pound bar that felt like a lot. And then suddenly you're, setting world records and lifting 1,000 pounds and squatting 1,000 pounds. And all of those things happened one day at a time.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. And like I said before, this was in 2019. I feel like it feels so long ago, but it feels like it was just last week in some ways. So like, that's just a testament of like, things go by so fast. You're going to get there. You're going to make it. Just give it time. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, Tony, we're so grateful to you for coming on and sharing all this with our listeners. We really appreciate it. And we know that people are going to want to reach out and find you and follow you. So we'll put links to your Instagram and everything in the show notes. But yeah, we just really appreciate it, Tony. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate this. Is different kind of podcast than I'm normally on. It was kind of cool to talk about a little bit different story than just lifting. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. No, we're glad to have the opportunity. And do you have any meets coming up? Any goals for the future? Not that, again, we're not pressuring you. We're not rushing you.
No, yeah. I told Shelly I usually do like 3 or 4 meets a year. But I told her I would just do 2 this year and would travel more and do more of that. So I'll do one at the end of the year. I don't know what I want to do yet, as far as there's different levels of gear that you can use, like a single ply, multi-ply, or doing the full meet or bench only. I do have a couple more goals, but that I want to hit bigger numbers and bigger competitions, but I don't know exactly what they are yet. It definitely is going over 1,000 pounds in some aspect, though. So we'll just have to up our numbers from before. But that'll be later on this year.
Load that bar up heavier, raise it,
Exactly.
Awesome, Tony. Well, thank you again. And we will certainly be rooting for you as you go forward, and hope that you have great trips with Shelly too.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Tony for joining us, and to our sponsor, Lever Movement, for making the show possible. And as always, huge gratitude to Jeremy Nussel for editing this and every single other episode of the Injured Athletes Club podcast. We're also grateful to you, our listeners. And if you like what you hear on the show, if it helps you through a tough spot or gives you a bit of hope, we would love it if you would tell another injured athlete about the show. That is the best way to spread the word. Text them, email them, send them a link, share it. And if you also want to come on and leave us a rating or a review in whatever podcast app you use, that is also beneficial in spreading the word. As Carrie mentioned in the intro, you can find us between episodes in our Facebook support group for injured athletes, which is also called the Injured Athletes Club. And you can get a link to that, to our book Rebound, and to many other resources we have for you on our website too. That is at injuredathletesclub.com. Thanks so much, and we'll see you there.